All right, everybody, welcome back to Becoming Next on Scene. I am so excited to be here with the amazing Mary Ferrara, who is a filmmaker and an actress, and she's coming out with an amazing movie called Wallie's Gals. Hi, Mary. How are you today?
Hi, Jackie. I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good. So Wallie's Gals is a series, right? Tell us more about Wallie's Gals. Break it down for my audience.
It could be a movie, it could be a series. Right now, if it's a movie, it's around 42 minutes with a rough cut. It evolved. Well, I could get back and further how I got into producing. I've been acting pretty much, or got into acting in the late 1990s, which I got the bug and stuff like that. So I did improv and sketch comedy for several years. And then I got a car in 2007, which evolved or allowed me to do more things like film and theater. So I've been doing that pretty consistently since 2007, those two things. But then in recent years, I don't know, I think, I got into producing because I wanted to act in a film challenge in New York City. And it required them choosing two people to produce the project. And it was through the Actors Green Room. And the two people they chose didn't want to do it. So I stepped forward to co-produce it with someone else. And so that kind of was my intro into producing film. Because otherwise they were going to axe those two people. I'm like, no, I'll step forward. All right. How do you produce?
Totally.
And it was a SAG film. So I had to do a lot of paperwork. I did the scheduling, tried to find location and all that fun stuff. And it was really empowering afterwards, saying, wow, I produced a film. Hey, why don't I do my own film? So I wrote a film as part of the Woman in Comedy Festival. I wrote this film called Schmoopie and just followed some of their guidelines. They had a 5-minute or less part of their festival, and you had to open it with a certain opening line, which was, I'll take whatever you got. So that's what started it. And then I went from there to write this 7-minute film. Didn't get into that festival, but it has done very well on the festival circuit the past couple of years. I've even traveled to Georgia and New Mexico for festivals to do with it.
So cool.
So it's great when you have an excuse to travel.
Right.
So yeah, and it evolved. And then for Wallie's Gals, that evolved because I posted my demo reel on Facebook. And I said, well, I don't have enough comedy footage. I haven't more recent comedy footage. And other actresses chimed in saying, I like comedy. I'd love to do more comedy. I said, well, I'll write us a script. And that's kind of how it evolved. And, it evolved a lot over a year. When you cast it first, and then before you've even written it, it's a little, then the actors are seeing evolutions of the script. And, generally you should always finalize a script and then cast it, but it's not unusual for a script to evolve. But the script, I just kept having more questions about these characters, and I wanted to kind of flesh some things out. And so it evolved over a year, and it's really a lot of fun. And I think people are really going to like it. And I think it's going to give a lot of people the warm and fuzzies in a lot of ways, especially if you were a fan of those films in the 80s, the first love films.
What I loved too when you and I were chatting was you were telling me about how women in their 50s they're always the same role. And I thought that was so awesome, that you're really allowing all these women to be more dynamic in what you're doing.
I mean, it starts off, we see the younger versions of them. And I thought that was important to see where they're coming from. So when we see them in the present day, they're not just sort of one note joking. We know what they used to be. It's kind of stemmed from how they were as a kid.
Totally.
So yeah, I kind of was trying to write characters that were fun and unique and dynamic and not just typical mother, psychologist, doctor roles, Right. And it was a lot of
wrong with that, but you're just so on point about that. That's what they're casted for.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and I learned, I'm big fans of these actresses now, especially after editing these people, the whole cast over a year. I'm big fans of these people. I really am. I'm it's amazing. I remember there was a filmmaker I know, Laura Pepper from Rhode Island. She also specializes in doing big ensemble comedies, specifically with a lot of females. But she said if she does a film and she's like the worst actress in her own film, then she knows she's done her job. Now, not saying, I act in it too, but the point being is if you know that, you got a lot of good stuff out of your actors, it's a good feeling, you know what I mean? Totally. And I did. It's a lot of fun. It's just, so it's something to be said when you do a film and you're big fans of your own actors.
Totally. Can you elaborate more on what Wallie's Gals is about? Like the storyline?
Yeah, it's sort of so it starts out in 1989 and there's a group of girls. It's like a, like Charlie's Angels, it's like Wallie's Gals. Gals is just sort of the affectionate term that the manager Maxine had for the girls that she managed. I know, just like this affectionate little, like we're a teen, kind of like Wallie's Gals. And now Wallie is the man that runs the store, and it was passed down to him by his dad. He is cute, but not a businessman. And he doesn't know what he's doing. So then they have this big competitor, Dick, who has his own store that specializes in pleather. And they're kind of beating Wallie to the ground. Because remember, the 80s were very big in fads. So I kind of capitalized that. When one fad was big, then some other fad would come over and kick that other fad to the curb. So basically there's competition now and they don't know what to do, but the gals kind of come forward and do some really interesting and unique things to kind of pick up business. So they really kind of save the store, but then something happens and they lose touch. Fast forward 30 years later, they reunite. There's a reason. And these gals now don't think as fondly as those days as Maxine, the manager, does. They have their own little gripes or things and stuff like that. But, I don't want to give away too much, but it evolves, and maybe they stay that way. Maybe they change. Maybe they, say, Maxine, you're crazy. That store is, we don't know. We don't know what happens. So you'll just have to see. But there's a reason why she wants them back. And there's a reason why they haven't talked in 30 years. And so you'll just have to see to put that together,
That's exciting. So when is it coming out?
I'm diligently working on it. I do want to film a little bit more. We have a few actors that are out of state, which kind of gets in the way of that right now. Just a little bit more footage to kind of deal with some, just to flesh some things out a little bit more. And hopefully I'm hoping by the end of this year, hopefully, and make it like a YouTube kind of thing that people will enjoy. A lot of people put things in Amazon Prime these days, but I don't know.
Time will tell, right, Mary? Time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, maybe not this one, but maybe another one. I'll go Amazon Prime. It seems to be, a big thing these days, but I don't know.
Listen, you could do great on YouTube. It's the second biggest search engine right now.
What's up?
It's the second biggest search engine after Google, YouTube.
Yeah, well, YouTube is, I'm on YouTube all the time. You can find everything on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's really so cool.
Yeah.
So what goes into like producing and making a film in general? Can you elaborate? I'm so fascinated by that process.
I'm still learning.
I'm assuming every time.
I'm still learning. It's a learning curve.
Right.
What I learned from the process, though, first and foremost, is have a very strong team of people. They're all on the same page of you and all are also gung-ho about it. It'll make your life and the project so much easier. It's tough to do it a lot on your own. I wore many different hats, and it can be fun to play different hats, but it can be a little stressful. It can be wearing in your bank account. And so it is good to have a team of people to sit down and say, this is what I want to do, and get everybody that they're on the same page and all gung-ho about it as well. I just can't stress enough how important it is to have a strong group of people for the crew.
Mm-hmm.
It will make
the crew. Like, who is Mary's crew?
The assistant. I would love to have had assistant to me. Assistant to the director is very important. Script supervisor, cinematographer, sound. Like all the people that sort of kind of help the wheels turn. A crew is so important, and it really will make your life so much easier. And I did have some good crew people, but but going forward, like just people that, how can I put this? That, you don't have to, they just know what you want. You don't even have to explain things so much. They're sort of like, yeah, they get this genre and stuff like that. And they're gung-ho about 80s films as me, I'm so thankful that I got the help and support I did for Wally's, and I will be eternally grateful. But going forward,
sorry, I was going to ask another question just about the name.
Go ahead. Sure.
What inspired the name of the film?
I don't know. I don't know why. I think I like the name Wallie, and I honestly, that's a good question. Sometimes there's certain things you remember where you got the inspiration, and there's some that you don't, and I don't remember.
That's hilarious. Hey, one day it'll come to you and be like, okay,
yeah. But yeah, like I said, I am grateful for the help that I did get with Wally's, and I always be internally grateful. But it's just important to have a good crew that you can continue with and continue future projects with, because they understand your style. Totally. And so it just makes everything work so smooth. So when you have that continuous group of people and stuff like that. So not many people think like I do.
I get that.
Yeah.
Totally get that. So, and then also too, the cast is so important. So what goes into like casting people? Like what is that?
Well, initially, as I said, with the people that chimed in that post on Facebook, I said, I'll write us a script. So I chose those actresses. So a couple of actresses couldn't end up doing it because of scheduling.
Right.
So one actress, Danielle Gensler, who plays Adult Lorraine, I had just seen her at a networking event. And so when the actress who bowed out, who had chimed in on Facebook, I immediately thought of Danielle because I had seen her and she just seemed to embody what I would picture that character to be. And so this is why it's good to go to networking events.
And you never
know.
So Mary, who do you play in the movie?
That's right. So I play
like you're talking about everyone else.
Leanne, who back in her younger days dated Wallie. And she's a 12-time beauty pageant winner. And she loves attention. And she's a little bitchy, which I can play if people know me well enough. So she was girlfriend of Wallie. And, because those are the fun roles to play. And then Devin Padley played the younger version of me. She and I had acted in a web series, and she played a bitchy role in that. So I knew she could play those type of characters. And then I'm like looking at her headshot, and she's like doing the same smirk I'm doing in my headshot. I'm like, yeah, she could play the younger version of me. And she's really, really great, and she nails it.
Cool.
So
that's really fun. So so TBD in terms of like exact launch date, but people can follow you on socials. And can you share, before we play game time and share fun facts, tell everybody how they can stay up to date?
Wally's, well, we do have a website. I'm still working on a website. So there's first of all, I have a production company website, which it's callitawhimproductions.com. So it's all one word, callitawhimproductions.com. And you go there. I'm sorry?
I said, that's very cute.
You know why? Is because everything I do seems to be on a whim. Like producing was on a whim. Like I didn't wake up and say I want to produce. It was everything happens like I don't plan it. It just seems like things sort of one thing leads into another.
Totally.
So that's why I named it that. So if they go there, they'll see all my projects or information of all the things I've produced. Wally's Gals has a page on there. I did create the URL walliesgals.com, WALLIESGALS.com. And I'm still working on that, but you can go there and click the image to go to the page for Wally's Gals on my Call It a Whim site. But yeah, there it should be links to the social media. Wally's is on Instagram. They have a Facebook page. So people can go there and get links and definitely follow us. I have a lot of fun posting updates and screenshots. And
you have teasers
like that.
Teasers on YouTube too, which I'll definitely put in our blog. But I loved those.
Still working on a trailer. I'm getting very close. I need an actress to maybe film me a little bit of stuff, but I'm getting very close to official trailer. I do have 2 teasers, but I am working on a trailer. So hopefully very soon I will get that out.
That's really exciting. And so to close out before our questions and game time of fun facts, what advice do you have for somebody that would be interested in either becoming an actress or a filmmaker?
Well, firstly, I think that networking is very important. Get people to know who you are. Be unafraid to introduce yourself in actor groups or filmmaker groups. This is who I am. Maybe have some video of yourself or video projects that you've done to kind of get people familiar with who you are or the type of work that you do. And if you're a new actor, I mean, just, film yourself doing a monologue or something like that. Video is very, very important to sort of get people a sense of you and who you are and your style. So definitely have something out there to show for it, but also get yourself, don't be afraid to say hello on groups and at networking events. Get people to know who you are.
So, and then too, to follow up with that thought, like with the shift of the pandemic and things have gone like more virtual, how has that affected you and your industry?
Well, things have gone, yeah, it's funny. There's a lot of things gone to Zoom, and you can network with people on Zoom events.
Totally.
Women in Film is a great organization. If you're a female, Women in Film of New England, they do a lot of networking events now online on Zoom. Awesome. You can introduce yourself. In fact, I did one, and I found a composer for Wallie's that way. So people will go and they have these networking events. I think WIFVNE.org, and you can become a member for a yearly fee, but they have a lot of great, and actually you don't have to be a woman to join. You could be a man too, but they have a lot of great networking events where you could say, hey, I'm a composer and I'd love to work in somebody's project, or hey, I'm a cinematographer, and so that's a great way to network and get involved in projects. There's also 48-hour film festivals, which are great, where they do, but there's one in Boston, Providence, and a lot of other major cities where people, you can sign up to be an actor, writer, cinematographer. You have 48 hours to write and produce a film and submit it where it gets judged. And they give you like a genre, an object you have to use, and things like, and a character. And I've done them for a long time, and they're a great way to get yourself out there. Especially, it helps get a little video footage of yourself. They get a little sense of what you can do. And it's another great way to get footage to sign up for a 48-hour film festival. So, and actually cool. This weekend is Boston's 48-hour film festival, and then July, Providence has their 48-hour film festival. So, definitely they're on Facebook. If you look up Boston 48-hour, Providence 48-hour, and connect with them. And they can and the people run them can hook you up with groups looking for actors or looking for specific roles.
Love it. So full of fun facts, Mary. I'm learning so much today. Okay, so are you ready I want to share fun facts about you and inspiring facts, because I learned a lot about you, which I thought was really cool. So you went to modeling school as a teenager. How was that, by the way?
I know, I did. I was such an awkward teenager, and this did influence something, a young Lorraine in Wallie's Gals, a little bit. I was a very awkward teenager. I did fall down a lot like she did. I used to trip a lot. I was very awkward and weird. So my mother signed me up for modeling school, Genre of Powers, for a month crash course.
Oh my God, I remember them. Yeah, they've been around.
And I think they're more like a talent agency now. But back then, you could sign up to do basic improvement and advanced modeling. My mother signed me up for both. I did not want to be a model. I just wanted to think, talk, and act like. But I met my best friend, Julie, who ended up becoming a model. And I'm still friends with her. And she lives in Switzerland now. She doesn't model anymore, but she did back in the day. So yeah, I met a good friend from doing it. But yeah, I did go to modeling school, and they give you a report card grading you in certain things, and I couldn't do the runway walk. Well,
listen, it's not for everyone, right? But I thought it was so interesting because you were talking too about how you weren't interested in acting until your 20s, which is so interesting. So what were your hobbies of interest prior to that?
Oh God. did I have hobbies? I mean, I used to play sports in school. I mean, I played tennis and softball in high school, tennis in college. I always loved learning foreign languages in college. I studied French, Italian, Spanish.
Well, first, Mary.
That was fun. What were, and then, I mean, I was a web design. I've done web design. So, I was doing that.
Yeah, but like, what was your moment? What was your moment? You were like, I should try acting. Like, this is kind of interesting.
Oh, it's funny. I got my first full-time job in Waltham, Massachusetts, and I was working a lot. And I don't know, I found out about an activities organization in Boston called Common Interests, and it was like sort of adults. It was almost like Boston Ski and Sports Club. You sign up for events and you do it with other people interested in the same thing. So like horseback riding or, day trip to Maine or something like that. But one of the events was an improv show at the Improv Asylum and the North End of Boston. And I never heard of improv, but I signed up for it. I said, oh, check it out. And it looked like a lot of fun. I said, well, maybe I'll sign up for classes. They were, passing out brochures in classes. And later that year I did. And it was just so much fun. I mean, I literally peed myself every week. And that's what, and it's so funny. It's like the circle of things. So I just ran a workshop or improv workshop taught by Will Awera, who was an improv teacher of mine, Improv Boston. So I started the Improv Asylum, also trained Improv Boston. And he was highly influential on me back then on what my strengths and weaknesses were as a performer. So I used to think, well, what if I could get other actors involved with him to get what I got? So I just last weekend or the weekend before, he did a character workshop in Zoom that I put together. We're going to do another one in July or August or both. I'll post updates on that, by the way. I'm going to do that, my Call It a Whim site. I will do that. People go to my site. I'm going to do a blog post with more information of the workshop if they'd like to get involved. Awesome. It's a great workshop to sort of help people discover what they can do vocally and physically, discovering new characters. This can really help in, breathing some life into an audition or creating some custom footage for your reel. A lot of us don't know what we can do. So he did really a lot of great exercises and they were a lot of fun. And so we're going to have more of those. And if you go to my website, I'm going to put a blog post when we're done and people can go there and learn how to sign up.
So cool. Such cool stuff you're doing. All right. Are you ready for game time?
Sure. Why not?
All right. So there's no limit with like how fast you have to answer. This is just fun for us. So what is Mary's favorite food?
Oh God. I would say that there's so many things, but I'm going to say belly clams I don't eat all the belly clams, fried clams with the bellies are like my evil pleasure. I don't eat them frequently, but I love them. Oh my God.
I've never heard that phrase. Maybe because I'm a New Yorker. I'm like, I don't know. I never heard that phrase before. They're pretty
popular around in the New England area, the belly clams. Yeah, I love them. So.
That's awesome. Okay. Fun facts. Very cool. All right. If you could wear one outfit for the rest of your life from head to toe, what would you wear and why?
Oh gosh. One outfit, probably pajamas. No,
I know, right? I would
with the lockdown, that feels like the one outfit a lot of us has been wearing.
That's so true.
I don't know. I mean, I think is it going to be like a particular type of outfit or?
No, it could think about it. If it's going to get cold, depending on where you are, it's going to get hot. You might want to bring layers. So it depends on what your comfort is.
Oh, goodness. I like a nice light long jacket. It's a light long jacket with some like sort of light loose cotton pants, They're good for like a walk. So maybe something like that with some, sneakers with a bit of cushion to them. So like nice comfy, pants with a nice light long jacket that has a hood in case it rains.
Smart. There you go. Get creative. I love that. That's great. And would the shirt be like matching the pants? Would it be a different color?
Yeah, it would be, I don't know, maybe it'd be a nice little, cinched to the waist V-neck, long sleeve shirt, maybe with a little flare on the wrist or something.
Love that. The peasant, isn't that the peasant style? I feel like that is what it is.
Maybe like a peasant shirt,
very
flowy and,
comfortable.
Not anything constrictive.
I like that. Yeah, right. If you're going to wear it for the rest of your life, you got to be comfortable.
Exactly. You could sleep in it and forget you had it on.
So funny. Okay. Where is your favorite place you ever traveled? And what's a bucket list place you've never been that you want to go to?
I would say Italy is my favorite place that I ever traveled. We visited Rome when I was 20. We visited Rome, Florence, Capri, Pompeii, Sorrento. Amazing. And we would take these long bus rides in between each city and the countryside. And I remember listening to Led Zeppelin, and that music seemed to go with looking at the countryside. For some reason, I was like, I had the best of Led Zeppelin in my headphones.
That's hilarious.
I don't know why, it just seemed to work well.
Love it.
It was so unbelievably beautiful. And bucket list that I haven't been, maybe France. I studied a little bit of French. Would be one of them.
Very cool. Great choices. I love. What was your favorite place in Italy? What was your favorite place in Italy that you went to?
Oh God, I would say Florence.
Love Florence.
Was really beautiful. And the churches and stuff like that. I think, yeah. Though Capri was very nice. I mean, it's hard. Capri was really nice. Had the best fish dinner in Sorrento.
The Amalfi Coast is like one of a kind. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Great choices. All right. Yep. Final question. If you could spend a day with somebody you've never met, dead or alive, who would you choose and why?
Freddie Mercury, probably.
I love him too. I just watched that movie again last night.
I would say him just because he just seemed like a really fun person.
Totally.
When that movie came out, I was just like reading stuff about him, and I'm like, he just seems like such a fun guy to hang out with. So
what a great one. I ask that all the time. Nobody said him before. That's awesome.
I read the book Mercury and Me, and that really was a really interesting book about him. And so, yeah, I mean, in that book, he was a fan of Wendy's hamburgers. So am I. So I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Mary, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Not a problem.
Share with us again how they can follow you on social media and stay up to date until Wallie's Gals.
Well, I do. Yeah. CallItAWhimProductions.com is my production company. My acting website is Mary C. Ferrara, MaryCferrara.com. But I think Call It a Whim site has a link to that acting website as well. But yeah, I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Wallie's is too on Instagram and Facebook. So definitely follow that because I'm really excited about the project. And I think a lot of people that have seen the rough cut really like it a lot.
Yeah,
so awesome. It's a really fun project, and I'm really looking forward to at least now see people seeing the trailer. I think that's hopefully going to create even more buzz. So totally. Yeah.
Well, so excited for you, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Becoming Next on Scene. Thank you again, Mary, for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you, Jackie, for inviting me. I appreciate it.
No problem. And stay tuned for who's next on Scene.